Welcome, dear children, to Stand Up 5th class. Today we are going to study English subject. Lesson number 13, The Adventures of Gulliver. Dear student, before I start this lesson, I would like to give you short introduction related to this lesson. The Adventure of Gulliver is written by Jonathan Swift. It is an extract from the book Gulliver Travels, is an imaginary account of the voyages of Gulliver, who worked as a surgeon on the ship. This extract describes the experience of Gulliver at the place like Lilliput and Bodinac. After sleeping for 9 hours, when Gulliver woke up, he found himself as sure as only place. So, dear children, this was the short introduction related to this lesson. So, this is the first part of the lesson which we are going to study today. Here you can see the sub paragraph of the lesson. Here I start. Lesson number 13, The Adventure of Gulliver. Gulliver's Travel is an interesting book written by a well-known English writer, Jonathan Swift. Now, dear children, this is the book is written by the English writer whose name was Jonathan Swift, in which he described the voyages. Now, what is mean by voyages? Voyages mean a journey, a long journey by the sea. In ship we travel, so it called a long journey by sea. So here it has described the voyages of Gulliver to various lands like Lilliput and Brobdingnag. Though the character of Gulliver and this strange sounding lands are imaginary. Now in this two line it has mentioned the story which is written by the Jonathan Swift is describe the voyages means a long journey specially done by the ship, and so this is the imaginary story which is written by the Jonathan Swift. So here is saying there are the characteristics which are odd, which are not real, and it sounding the land are imaginary. All things in this story are imaginary. Gulliver experience and the adventures are written so well that they seem real and true to life. So here it's saying that it all are the imaginary, and the experience and the adventure are written well that they are seen real and the true to the life. So it has written such a way that is a real story in the life. Let's move to the second sub paragraph, dear student. Gulliver, the story tell us, work as a surgeon. Now, what is mean by surgeon, dear student? Surgeon means a doctor who is specially trained to perform medical operations. So, surgeon means that. So here the Gulliver who worked in the ship as a surgeon. As such, he made several voyages. Now, what is mean by voyages? Just I have a long journey specially done in the ship. In May 1699, and he sailed. Now, what is mean by sailed? Sailed means a boat or ship having a specific kind. So here he has in 1699 he sailed on the ship, he traveled on the ship. The antelope. Now what is mean by antelope? The antelope a swift running with smooth hair on the return journey. In November, a violent storm. Now, what is meant by storm? A fast wind was blowing and it has shake his ship, and the ship was not stable. It was disbalanced, and Gulliver swam to save his life. So, what he has done? He has jumped in the water to save his life. Later in the evening, he found himself Malund. Now, what is mean by Malund? Malund is the place from which you cannot escape, or life in a place from which you cannot escape. So, he lived in such kind of place, and it was strange to himself. and a strange land, weak and exhausted. Now what is mean by exhausted? It is mean very tired, because he was swimming in the water from very long time, and this was the reason he has become very weak and very tired. He slept for about 9 hours, so he went to sleep for 9 hours because he was very tired and became weak. It was daylight when he awoke. So when Gulliver woke up, it was little daylight. Let us read what happened next in his own story. So dear student, let's move further to the story what happened. Yeah, I going to read the sub paragraph of the lesson. Here we start. Gulliver meets the Lilliputians. Now, what is Lilliputians? Lilliputians is a man 6 inches in height, but possessing all the pretensions and the self-importance of full size. So, it's mean Lilliputians. So, here we are going to study the Gulliver who meets to this small men. I tried to get up from the ground, but I could not move. Now here the Gulliver who's trying to get up from the ground, but he could not able to get up. It was lying on my back, so the Gulliver was lying down on the ground. Then I found that my arms and feet were held down to the ground with strings. As you can see in the picture, dear student, the Gulliver is laying down on the ground and it has tied by all the strings. My hair, which was long, was held down in the same way, and his hair was also tied with some pin, or we can say string. So it was also tied with some strings. Thousands of strings had been passed across my body. So here the Gulliver is telling that the thousand of strings has passed across to my body. It has tied all part of my body with the string, so that I could not move any part of me. So here he is saying that he they have tied so tightly that I am not able to move any part of my body. Even I can't move a finger also. Here he is saying, but could only lie there on my back looking up at the sky. Now Gulliver is saying only one thing I can do, just lay down on the ground and can look up in the sky, can't do anything else. In a little time I felt something alive moving on my foot, then it come over. So lit after some time the Gulliver realized that something is moving on his body part among to the foot. Then it come over slowly they started to come over of the body part. So dear student, let's move to the next sub paragraph. My body and up to my face. Now here the tiny men are started climbing on Gulliver body up to foot to face, turning my eyes down as much I could. So the Gulliver is turning, rotating his eyes here and there to look something what is happening. I saw a man. He was not half a foot height. So here the Gulliver saw a man who was very tiny. He compares that it was not half a foot of his height. By his dress, he seemed to be a soldier. So here the Gulliver is saying that he has dressed up in such a way that he was looking like a soldier. Then there came 40 more following the first. After that, the first man who has came, after that 40 more came to following the first. I was so much surprised. Surprise means you are not expected the thing and it happens suddenly. So here the Gulliver was very surprised by looking all these things were happening there. Then I gave a great cry. Now here the Gulliver has started to give a great cry. He started to cry very loudly. Then they all ran. So as Gulliver started to cry loudly, so all the tiny men started to run here and there, back in a great fear. And as I was told later, so they started to get fear and started running here and there. and as the Gulliver was to taste something, they started running here and there. Some of them were hurt in jumping down from my side on to the ground. So because of the Gulliver has great cry, so all the tiny men got afraid and they started running here and there, and because of this they started jumping down from the Gulliver body, and it was very heighted, so as they have directly jumped on the ground, so they all got hurt each other. Let's move to the next sub paragraph, dear student. What happened next to the Gulliver? Let's see. Gulliver attempts to pull free. Now here the Gulliver is trying to make himself free from the ground. As you can see in the picture, dear student, the Gulliver was tied from the rope from this tiny man, and now he's trying to make free himself. Let's see further, dear student, how Gulliver make himself free. Let's see. After pulling very hard, I got one arm up from the ground. After putting hard effort, he make one of his arm free from the ground. I also raise my head. Also he has raised his head. This gave me a great pain, from many of the hair were pulled out, and he has made his head also free. To make his head free, it has given lot of pain to this Gulliver, because he has pulled lots of his hair from the ground, because it has pin out each hair from the pin and to plucked out, so it has given a very hard pain to this Gulliver. I put out my hands to catch some of the little men. So he had put some hands to catch some this little men, but they run away before I could close my hand on them. So as he tried to catch some of these little men, they all run away, and because of that he closed hand on them. Then I heard a noise. After a few times, the Gulliver heard a noise and felt pricking in my hand like that of thousand needles. So what is meant by pricking? Pricking means to make a small hole in something or to cause somebody pain with a sharp point. So here the tiny man was pricking to the hand of Gulliver. It was pinching like a thousand needle. He feel that. I found that they were shooting arrows at me, and after that the Gulliver found that they all are shooting arrow at him. I was afraid for my eyes, and because they were shooting arrows, so here the Gulliver got afraid, scared that he might injure his eyes. I put my hand over my face. After this, I thought that the wisest thing. Now, what is mean by wisest, dear children? Wisest mean having the knowledge or experience to make good and sensible decisions. So here the Gulliver thought the man who are shooting the arrow and it might be injured his eyes, so he thought an idea to cover his eyes with the hand so he can save the eyes from the arrow. Dear student, this was the first part. Hope you all understood. Thank you.